She's blocking my only road. Picture this. It's 6 a.m., my coffee's cooling in my hand, and there's Linda Harrow, standing with that HOA clipboard and a smile sharp enough to cut wire, blocking the only access to my farm with a steel gate like she's queen of the neighborhood. My business, my deliveries, my entire life, all locked out behind her little fortress. And right then, I realized something that made me laugh inside. Linda picked the wrong target. She was messing with a guy who'd built tunnels and combat zones, a man who doesn't just roll over when the local queen. He says so. You want to block my road, Linda? Fine. I'll go underground. Let me back up a sec. 2 months before the steel gate, I was just Miles Carter, an organic farmer trying to live quietly and mind my own business. Should have known peace doesn't last long in this world, not when folks like Linda smell opportunity. That gate, it appeared out of nowhere, one night. Nothing. Next morning. Instant siege. Linda's there beside her pristine sedan, clipboard in hand. All business. Tossing out fake concern thicker than peanut butter. Just some safety issues, Miles. Petition from the neighbors. You know the type. Smiling like she's doing you a favor while she's twisting the knife. What rattled me wasn't the gate, it was her eyes. Cold, calculating, always glancing toward the corner of her yard like she's guarding Fort Knox. The way she talked about her special garden project, all hush-hush about soil depth and rare plants, just made the whole thing feel more like a Bond villain speech than neighborly small talk. Every word she said felt like part of a script, one she'd rehearsed, probably in front of that same mirror she uses to practice her innocent smile. I tried legal threats. Normal, right? Tell someone they can't block a public road and expect reason. Linda just got even more understanding. Documentation is so important in these matters. Miles, the way she leaned on that word, documentation, I should have known she had an angle. Because she did. My business was already stretched thin, contracts on the line, tight schedules, all hanging on that road. And Linda knew it. This wasn't some spur-of-the-moment HOA tantrum. It was surgical. It was war. I started noticing little things. Motion sensors buried along her fence. Junction boxes where none should be. Her landscaper with a voltmeter, not pruning shears. All those garden projects. Surveillance, perimeter control. Even her shoes, caked in fresh mud at 7 a.m. while she'd worn gloves all morning. Who gardens at night and shows up with clean hands and muddy shoes? Someone hiding something, that's who. The next day, she showed up at dawn with a folder, thick, official, terrifying. Old police reports, court records, a private investigator's timeline of my entire life since I left Texas. The bar fight, the PTSD, the skipped court date. My secrets, stacked neatly on her kitchen table. And she said it with a smile. Skipping court dates creates such complications, especially with outstanding warrants, don't you think? Then the kicker, her cousin is the sheriff. Of course he is. The terms were simple. Join the HOA, pay $18,000 in back fees, submit to Linda, or she picks up the phone. Then she dropped the real bomb. Her private investigator had been digging into me for months before this all started. This wasn't an accident. It was a setup. She'd hunted for my weakness, planned every step. And just like that, I was trapped. My phone rang. My restaurant contracts were in jeopardy. My supply chains were unraveling. Linda's eyes flicked to her corner garden again. During last year's big storm, she'd worked all night to protect her heritage plants. Yeah, right. Whatever she was hiding in that dirt, she'd risked everything to protect it. The timelines lined up too well. Enter Martha, a nervous board member who found me one day. She whispered that Linda kept talking about insurance, something that would keep her safe forever if anyone got nosy. Insurance, huh? Not the kind you get from State Farm, I'm guessing. Meanwhile, Linda's campaign escalated. Anonymous complaints flooded in, unsafe construction, dangerous behavior, all for community safety. My farm's address highlighted in red on safety bulletins. Vendors stopped calling. Social media groups popped up overnight painting me as the unstable veteran. Even the mail carrier left packages. At the gate, Linda turned suburban manners into social weapons. All while that garden of hers sprouted more lawn ornaments, each hiding a surveillance lens if you looked close enough. But if Linda controlled the surface, I'd go underground. Literally, my military training kicked in. I started planning a tunnel 200 feet long, 6 feet down, reinforced like a mini bunker. My buddies Jake and Pete, both veterans, showed up at midnight, cracking jokes as we mapped it out by flashlight. Sometimes, you gotta fight dirty when the system's stacked against you, you know? Linda wasn't done. Suddenly, emergency gas inspectors in legit uniforms show up, except the gas companies never heard of them. EPA guys wave expensive equipment, discover contamination, shut down my dig. My insurance gets evidence of criminal excavation, fabricated, professional, and scary enough to freeze my bank accounts and cancel contracts. Jake and Pete started to worry. Then one night we hit metal, a heavy military-grade container buried under Linda's favorite garden. Opening that box was a moment I'll never forget. Instead of evidence on Linda, it was full of evidence against me: bank records, embezzlement, restraining orders, medical reports, all pointing to me as some monster. I almost believed it myself. My friends bailed, the neighborhood put up "Protect our children" signs, and I was left alone with a pile of paperwork that could ruin anyone's life. But the details didn't add up: fresh soil, new scratches on the container. This wasn't buried. For years, it was staged. Someone wanted me to find it. Someone wanted me to give up. But I didn't. Martha came back with the detail that changed everything. Linda had moved her insurance deeper. During last year's storm, digging further, I found another, much older container, sealed tight and heavy as a small car. All while the community turned into a circus, phones recording Linda screaming as I hauled her secret into the sunlight. With the whole neighborhood watching, I picked the lock. Linda's panic was instant and absolute. The box burst open with every secret sheet. Spent years trying to hide. $73,000 in stolen HOA funds, blackmail files on half the neighbors, payoffs to her cousin the sheriff, backup plans for arson, framing, you name it. It was all there, proof. Linda had orchestrated a criminal empire from her little corner garden. The crowd turned. Phones filmed. Sheriff Reynolds froze. Martha produced her own stack of evidence. And suddenly, Linda wasn't the queen anymore. Federal agents swooped in, news crews followed. My 15-year-old warrant vanished in a plea deal as I helped dismantle Linda's web of lies. She went down for embezzlement, blackmail, fraud. Her insurance became my shield. My tunnel, once a desperate escape, turned into a monument, Corruption Tunnel Farm, where people come to learn how to fight back against folks like Linda. And here's the part nobody expects. 3 days before her sentencing, I get a package, no return address, just a single photo, proof Linda's not done, proof she meant it. When she whispered, "You have no idea what you've just unleashed." Maybe she's got allies out there. Maybe the story's not over. But you know what? Sometimes you gotta dig deep, literally and figuratively, to bring the truth to light. Smash that like button if you've ever had to stand up to power. Drop your wildest HOA horror stories in the comments. And let's talk about what justice really means. Because in this world, the fight's never as simple as it looks on the surface.